I'm really looking forward to introducing you all to Neill Strain. Now, he's a world-renowned floral designer and founder of Neill Strain Floral Couture. He's known for creating luxurious, emotive floral experiences for royalty, celebrities and high-profile clients. Wow, that's an incredible journey, and look how your family, the female family members, inspiring you to start your journey. So you must have known all the way along somehow that this could turn your passion into your career, into your lifestyle, and how you bring great joy to people's lives. You must have known that.
I would do things so differently. I like to a degree, fly under the radar, and I want our clients to know that they can trust us. I did a lot of learning by my mistakes, which probably is a good way to do it, but it's also an expensive way.
I look forward to trying that. That sounds amazing, like a step into history.
Yes.
In your home. I love this, Neill. Thank you so much. You've given so many words of wisdom there. Welcome to the show, Neill.
Thank you, Anita. It's so great to be here.
Yeah, I'm really, really pleased we made this happen. Throughout all our busy lives and everything we get up to, our paths cross many, many times at these amazing Mayfair Times events.
Yeah.
So so let me find out more about your life. I'd love to know, like, how have your floral creations, like how the artistry and the elegance, and what inspired your journey to get into floristry, or what should I say, into floral couture design, floral design. How did it all begin?
Well, let's just say it's been a bit of a journey. I feel like in life I'm one of the lucky few who actually knew from a very early age what I wanted to do. Mm-hmm. I probably from about the age of 8 or 9, I was really interested in gardening. My grandmother had a beautiful garden, and I just used to love being amongst the flowers and mm-hmm. being connected with nature back in Northern Ireland where I grew up. And that love of gardening sort of evolved into a love of flowers, and then a love of cut flowers, and then a love of arranging cut flowers. I had an aunt who was also very interested in flower arranging, and she went to flower arranging classes at some point during my childhood, and she actually took me to one of her flower arranging classes. So can you imagine this group of middle-aged ladies in a college in Northern Ireland, and then this young, I think maybe I was 11 years old or 12 years old at the time, right, coming along to learn how to arrange flowers. And I vividly remember the floral arrangement that I created. Looking back now, I would say it's like something that you would have found on a compost heap, but at the time I was very proud of it. It was just using picked flowers from the garden, mm-hmm. and that experience has really stayed with me throughout my entire life, which has sort of put me on the path to where I've ended up ultimately today.
Wow, that's an incredible journey, and look how your family, the female family members, inspiring you to start your journey. So you must have known all the way along somehow that this could turn your passion into your career, into your lifestyle, and how you bring great joy to people's lives. You must have known that at some point.
Well, I was very lucky growing up. I grew up in a very supportive family. I had lots of very strong Irish female figures around me. My grandmother, who lived with us up until she passed away. My mother, all of my aunties, a very Irish Catholic family, lots of aunts and cousins and whatnot. So I was always very much supported and encouraged with my love of flowers. So I feel very fortunate to have had that start in life.
So Neill, you were very fortunate that you had so many great role models and females in your family to support you and to guide you. How was that for you?
I was extremely fortunate to grow up in Ireland, in the countryside, with a very strong family. A lot of my grandmother, my mother, aunties, and my father and my sisters, of course, who were all very supportive of me. I didn't, at the time, of course, I was very young. I didn't foresee myself working with flowers as a career. For me at the time, it was just something that I really enjoyed and hadn't really thought much more about it. However, when I left high school, I did decide to pursue floristry training. So I went to a local horticultural college in Northern Ireland, and I studied there for a year. I lived on campus, so I was 18 at the time, and that was my first experience of living away from home and really getting to know who I was as a person. But even at that point, I still did not see myself in the floral industry. My father has been very successful in his business, and he is in electrical engineering, and they build data centers and do all sorts of incredible things, and he always wanted me to be in the family business. So I did have quite the battle on my hands to convince him that actually I really didn't want to be in the family business, although at that point I still didn't really know whether I wanted to pursue floristry. I also had a passion for film. I was very interested in the idea of working in the film industry. So when I left my floristry course, I did a foundation in art and design, and that was to enable me to come to London to study set design and special effects for film, TV and theatre. So I came to London, did my degree, and the whole time I was doing that, I got a job in a London flower shop, and that really opened my eyes into the very dynamic world of working with flowers in London and working with incredible clients and working with budgets that we would have had the experience of working with in Ireland. So by the time I graduated from my film degree, I was very much firmly rooted in the idea of pursuing floristry as a career and a business.
That's amazing that you shared that, like how you've merged the two worlds together of art, design and floristry, and also your business background, because it surely must have rubbed off on you with your father being an entrepreneur with a successful business, and that you hear those business stories in your environment around you anyway.
That's the very remarkable thing, particularly growing up in Northern Ireland during the 80s and the 90s during the Troubles, and the fact that my father did build a very successful business in the face of adversity with all of the challenges that were going on around us. So yes, I did grow up in a business family, and business was always very much the talk around the dinner table, and I look back and feel extremely proud of what my father achieved and how that formed my view of business and career. So whilst I have some regret that I didn't follow in the footsteps of the family business, I'm extremely proud of where I've ended up, and I know that my father is very proud also of, although he would love me to have been in the family business, he's very proud of what I've achieved, and
Yes.
has been really my biggest champion across the years, supporting me and giving me some tough love when it was needed.
Yes, good. That's great. We all
Yes.
need that sometimes.
We do, absolutely. Yes, I'm really thankful, for my
Yes.
father for instilling that in me.
So Neill, well, fast forward, you have a hugely successful brand, and I'm sure it wasn't easy to create what you have, especially having your boutiques here just in Mayfair and also in Harrods and Belgravia. But what kind of skills did you need in order to do that? What kind of values, what kind of creativeness did you need in order to build a brand? Because people are always talking about brands all the time, but it's most brands fail. So how do you place yourself in an already oversaturated market and really stand out?
So one of the key parts of me getting started in business was just being young, naive, and very ignorant. I was only 24 when I started my business. I had no idea what I was letting myself in for. I was full of confidence, full of, I would say I had talent. Going back to my earlier comment when I said, I feel very lucky to have known from a very early age, maybe not that I would do floristry as a career, but that it was something that I really loved and something that I was quite good at. Of course, then I pursued my floristry studies, but I knew very little about running a business. Of course, as I mentioned, having come from a business family, often having had the business talk around the dinner table, etc. So I probably felt I knew more than I did at the time. That was 2008. Here we are 17 years later. I just cannot believe that we've come this far, and everything that's happened in that time, and the successes and the failures and the highs and the lows. But yes, I would say at the time it was just a lot of confidence and potentially a bit of arrogance as well, I would say.
Yes.
And naivety, but talent and passion to just do something different and something exciting and something new.
That's so insightful for anybody that wants to say, do anything, like you followed a passion, making it into a business. If you could think of like what the secret sauce is, you've mentioned some things here, but what would you say, looking back now, knowing what you know now, would you do anything differently?
Yes, looking back to 17 years ago when I established the business, I would do things so differently. I did a lot of learning by my mistakes, which probably is a good way to do it, but it's also an expensive way and a time costly way of learning how to run a business. But I just had this vision of, in actual fact, I really wanted to establish my business in Chelsea. I just thought, you know, I love Chelsea as a neighborhood. Chelsea Flower Show, there's such an association with Chelsea and flowers. So in sort of 2007, when I started to think about branching out into running my own business, at this point I had also studied in the Netherlands. I'd spent about a year in the Netherlands studying a floral master's. So that really opened my eyes to an entirely new style of floristry that I'd never seen in London or in the UK. I'd had experiences of visiting the growers in the Netherlands, seeing how all of these hugely passionate people had dedicated their entire lives to growing a flower variety or a couple of flower varieties, the rose growers, the orchid growers, and I was their enthusiasm and passion was so infectious. So I came back to London feeling so energized and enthused about the floral world, and then I set upon piecing together, what does the Neill strain floral business look like? And I was in the United States on holiday, and I was traveling back on the plane, and I just happened to watch a TV program called The Secret World of Haute Couture. And, you know, as a very young person, I didn't really know what haute couture was, and I was so transfixed by this program. It was almost a fly-on-the-wall documentary following these very affluent ladies, mostly, who collected haute couture, and it showed them going into their wardrobes, pulling out all these magnificent couture gowns. It showed some of the seamstresses and how they did the beading and the pattern cutting and the stitching, and I was so fascinated. I thought, this is what I want to do with flowers and floristry. I want to take those incredibly grown flowers that I've just discovered in the Netherlands and weave them into these magnificent bouquets and arrangements and the beautiful packaging and the ribbons. That was what I wanted to create, and hence was born the name Neill Strain Floral Couture. So it really came from that. I wanted us to be the haute couture floral design, something that was hugely elevated, working with the most incredible quality flowers, artistically arranged, beautifully packaged, and sold to our incredible client base. As I mentioned, I wanted to have my store in Chelsea, but whilst I was searching for my premises in Chelsea, I just stumbled upon Ebury Street. I'd never heard of Ebury Street, I didn't know what Belgravia was, and I just found this premises and it really spoke to me. It was just this really beautiful space, and I thought, wow, I can really see myself. And then I started to walk around Chester Square, Eaton Square, and I was like, wow, this is just so beautiful. I can really see Neill Strain Floral Couture being at home in Belgravia. And my first store we opened on Ebury Street in 2008. I was there for about 3 years. Then we relocated to West Halkin Street, which is where we are today, and have been there for 15 years now, and I feel very much part of the Belgravia community, and you know, our clients just really love what we do.
That's incredible. You must make so many people happy, because I know what it's like. As a female, when I receive a beautiful bunch of couture flowers, floral arrangements, it just boosts you. It just releases just so much happiness, and that's the main thing. It brings joy to people's lives, and it just
Yes.
that sparkle in life, natural beauty.
That is our company core statement. Is our core focus is enhancing our clients' lives with floral couture. That's our what and our why. What are we doing? We're doing floral couture. Why are we doing it? To enhance our clients' lives. And that's just the mantra that I've always lived by. I'm so lucky to get to do. I'm so lucky to have built a career out of doing something that I really love. And of course, 17 years down the line, I've got a much bigger team now. I'm less hands-on with the flowers, but it certainly started in the early days with me being extremely hands-on. But from time to time I do get, when our driver's off sick, I'll jump in and go and deliver a bouquet of flowers, and I never cease to be amazed the moment the client opens the doors, and it's just the reaction on their face how they're just so overwhelmed at seeing such beauty.
Yes.
And it's so impactful and so meaningful, and that always brings it back home to me that is why I'm doing what I'm doing. It's to really enhance people's lives with floral couture.
And that is the core of what we're discussing here today, like the whole story, but just the joy that you bring in that moment. So I want to thank you for that, for bringing so much joy into so many people's lives. So Neill, you're running a high-end floral business, and as well as coming both with beauty and pressure, how do you define success?
Yes, that's a slightly difficult one. How do I define success? For me, success is emotional. It's that moment when the client opens the doors and sees a beautiful bouquet of flowers and almost is moved to tears, or on the morning of a wedding when you walk the bride into the ballroom to see her wedding set up. It's that moment of connection with the client when you've really moved them emotionally. And talking about maybe a moment when I felt personal success was just very recently. We had a client who came to shop in the Mayfair store, and this person is a fashion designer that I have absolutely adored for years and years and years, and somebody that I hugely admire for their style, their taste, the successful brand that they've built. And this designer, we discovered, lives very locally to the Mayfair store and has become a regular client. And the first time they visited and commented on how beautiful the store was, I felt like, wow, this is a moment of reciprocal admiration. And for me, that was like personally a moment when I really felt I've achieved success, when I had this fashion designer telling me how beautiful the boutique was and has now become a regular client. So for me, that was a moment of personal success.
That's a beautiful story. I can so relate to that, as in when my husband and I walk past, we're like, let's just pop in to take some pictures. It's stunning yes. Location. So if any of our listeners do get a chance to go along to Belgravia store or Harrods, or of course in Mayfair, do go and have a look at Neill Strain's beautiful designs, because it's absolutely stunning. It brings so much joy.
Yes, and sorry to interrupt, but we are so welcoming of people just coming in to enjoy the flowers. When I started the business in 2008, I think it was around the time that Facebook became a thing, and then several years later Instagram became a thing. So completely unplanned and inadvertently, because of how we used to dress the front of my stores, and for any of the viewers of this show who have been to my boutiques will know that we always do these really gorgeous, striking, impactful displays outside the boutiques, and we've just always done that from the very beginning, and just because we wanted to create an impact. But then we started to get traction on social media. We would have, and still do have, people, influencers, just flower lovers, flower enthusiasts coming to our boutiques just to see our floral displays. They have their photographs taken, they tag us on Instagram, And it's just so lovely to see how what we do is impacting so many people's lives.
And it's growing. Your social media is, in fact, how do people follow you, follow your progress and your
Yeah, so our across the board, our Instagram, Facebook, etc., is just at Neill Strain. It's very simple.
Excellent.
We'd love for people to check in and see what we're up to. We try to keep it fresh. We try to, show some of the beauty of what we do, and sometimes a little bit of the chaos of behind the scenes as well, which always makes for interesting viewing.
That's great. And what's been your biggest event that you've done, and any celebrities that you can mention that you've worked for?
We have done really some incredible projects across the years. I will not really mention any names as such, because one of the things that I think our clients value about working with us is our discretion, and some of it is public knowledge. That's when potentially a celebrity has posted something or shared something, but I like to a degree fly under the radar, and I want our clients to know that they can trust us, because when you work in the floral world, you're working with such an emotional product. It's people are sending flowers for, it's a birth of a new baby, it's a bereavement, it's a thank you, it's an I love you, it's a I'm sorry for screwing up.
Yes.
So in that moment, clients really let you into their world. And we work in, having stores in Belgravia, Mayfair, and in Knightsbridge at Harrods. We get the opportunity to work with really, really, really mind-blowingly incredible people, some very high-profile people in magnificent homes. And I just want our clients to always know that what we do together is private, if they want it to be. So I tend not to share too much about the clients that we work with. But in terms of incredible projects, we work with a lot of clients from the Middle East. So we've done incredible projects in palaces in Dubai and Abu Dhabi and Doha, in Saudi Arabia. Last year we did such a fun project. It was for the Ritz-Carlton. They just launched their second yacht, their second of 7 yachts. We did their launch, their inaugural voyage. We did 5 events across 3 days, and I had 15 of my team on board, and it was very creatively challenging. We have worked on private yachts before, but nothing on this scale, let's say, with so many people on board. And that was just a really fun but creatively challenging project, and of course logistically challenging too, being at sea for 3 days, 3 nights and 4 days.
That sounds like so much fun. That sounds incredible. Do you get really, really involved with all the design work and with your team?
Yes, so I'm very involved creatively in the business. About 18 months ago, I brought a new managing director into the business, and that was such a pivotal moment for me, because prior to that I had been so bogged down with let's say the more mundane sides of the business. And I really discovered, particularly during the pandemic, I read an incredible book called Traction. And for any of your viewers who are in a business and wondering what the heck they're doing, or they need to implement some sort of organization into the business, I would highly recommend to read Traction. So I read the book during the pandemic, and then very soon after that we started to work with an implementer who comes into our business once a quarter and helps us to strategize, organize, and we've been now doing that for about 4 years, and that has hugely helped me to step away from the day-to-day of the business, because at some point during reading that book, I discovered that there really are 2 roles at the top of the business. There is the creative, and then the more technical person. So that was such a freeing moment for me, because I realized that I don't need to know all about HR. I don't need to know all about finance. I don't need to know all about dealing with rubbish collections with Westminster City Council. I feel like I've really been put on earth to just be creative and do my thing creatively. And by bringing my managing director into the business, she now deals with the HR, the finances, all of the stuff that was really a drain on me. And I feel like since we've changed that dynamic, it's really helped me to step into my role as the creative director of the business. So I'm very involved creatively in all of our projects. I'm overseeing them. I have an incredible team who have worked with me for years. They know how I tick. They know how to take my ideas and make them a reality.
I love this. This is like magic to my ears. We've just been involved with Tony Robbins. It's about being a business owner, not an operator as such. And you're a real artist anyway, but how do you get to be the business owner, but yet still follow your passion through the creativity as well, through all of that. So well done. Congratulations for getting a managing director on board so you can really oversee. So you're viewing the whole business from afar, so you're not so in the detail.
I'm not in the weeds so much these days.
That's great.
It only took me 15 years to realise that.
Great that you've been through the experience though, and that book came to you at the right time.
It did, it really did, yes. I'm very much a firm believer in timing.
Yes, so you're ready for that, to mature yourself into that business and that the entrepreneur that you are now. Wonderful. So what's next? Looking ahead, your future plans, whether it's in creativity, you've already talked much about your role as a creative director, but personal growth, or even how do you see in the next, say, future, the world of floral couture growing, expanding, scaling? What's next for you?
So one thing I'm hugely passionate about is fragrance. I've always been obsessed with flowers and fragrance. And when I launched the business in 2008, I developed a collection of fragrance candles. I had 5 candles in my first collection, and that was really hugely successful. And then in around about 2018, 2019, I redeveloped the range. I started working with an incredible perfume house in Grasse in the south of France, and I developed my range. We brought out 7 fragrances, 6 plus a Christmas special edition, and that they've been hugely popular as well. And about 2 years ago, I started to redevelop the range again, and I'm just about to launch in the next 2 weeks my new collection. In total, I will have 16 fragrances. We're launching with 5 to begin with, and there'll be 4 more launching in the summer, and then some of the autumn winter scents coming in September. So that's, I really visualize the business going in the direction of more than just flowers, any, home enhancing vases, ceramics. We've always been very well known for the beautiful ceramics and the glassware that we sell, and I'm lucky in that I get to go and do all of the buying trips to procure all of those lovely things. But I think those branded products, as the business has grown, as the brand has gained more notoriety, particularly in the US and the Middle East, we're very well known. Our clients really want, when they're traveling back to wherever they come from, they obviously can't travel with flowers, but they like to be able to take a branded product. So once my candle range launches, that may expand into room scents, hand wash, hand soaps, etc. So I'm really excited about that. And international expansion as well. We are in the process of planning to launch in the Middle East, which is very exciting. I've had numerous offers over the years from clients who love our brand in London and wanted us to move to expand to the Middle East, but I just felt I really wasn't ready. But now, post-pandemic and post-implementing EOS into our business, which is from the book Traction, I feel like we're in such a great place as a business. I have an incredible team. There's about 35 on my team now, and this is a great time for us to be branching out and seeing what's beyond the shores of the UK.
I love it. This is great. So are you emotionally prepared for that then?
I am now, yes. I think that time that we were all given during the pandemic to just take stock really helped me to revisit where we'd been, where we were at the time, and where I wanted to go, and feel really ready for that. Since bringing my managing director into the business, I've also taking my own health and fitness more seriously, because I now have more time on my hands. So I train 3 days a week with a personal trainer, and I do
Excellent.
2 sessions a week with a reformer Pilates instructor. So I feel physically fit and healthy, and I still have the desire and the passion to continue enhancing our clients' lives with floral couture. So
I love this, Neill. Thank you so much. You've given so many words of wisdom there through your own personal growth, your journey, and also taking a team along with you and bringing so much joy into so many people's lives. So thank you so much for joining me today on our show, and I wish you all the very, very best and huge success for your scaling and growing in the Middle East as well.
Thank you so much, Anita, and thanks for having me.
Excellent.
And just one very interesting thing about my candle range. Through my love of fragrance, I was trying to decide what would my new collection look like. And as we've just in the last 18 months launched the business in Mayfair, I wanted to create a candle called Mayfair. So I got to thinking, with all of the incredible programs we see on TV like Belgravia, Bridgerton, Downton Abbey, what would a townhouse have smelt like in the Georgian era, in the early 1700s when Mayfair was being built?
Yeah.
What would have been the smells that those people would have been breathing? So my Mayfair candle is based on what a Georgian townhouse would have smelled like in the 1700s. And it's so unusual and so beautiful because we have the scent of the leather from the leather-bound books in the library, to the leather boots of the footman, the polished wood floors, the polished wood furniture, the tobacco smoke, the burning embers from the fireplace.
Yes.
And I discovered that they also used a thing called orris root to fragrance the linens. So we've got orris root in there, and Palo Santo, which was a very exotic wood, and that's a little nod to how much the Georgians loved exotic imports. So I'm really excited to launch my Mayfair candle and hope that it resonates with the residents of Mayfair.
I look forward to trying that. That sounds amazing, like a step into history in your home. Thank you so much for that, Neill.
Thank you, Anita.
I wish you all the very best in your new business, your candle business, and how you expand and grow and carry on creating superb products.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.